The air recyclers hummed their endless song through Harmony Ring's council chambers, while Ambassador David Reeves counted ceiling panels for the third time that hour. He had memorized their pattern days ago during these pointless debates. Beside him, Patricia Osmond tapped her tablet screen with one finger, a rhythm she maintained whenever frustrated beyond words. The Galactic Council argued about paragraph 17 of subsection 42 regarding proper terminology for discussing the ongoing slaughter in the outer spiral territories. 6 days of this, 6 days while human colonies burned. High Arbiter Kuthen raised all 4 arms in what passed for commanding silence among his species. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he addressed the chamber's 847 assembled representatives. We must establish proper procedural framework before addressing any allegations of impropriety. His translator rendered the phrase with bureaucratic precision that made David's jaw clench. Warmaster Grath lounged in the hegemony's designated section, his scaled features arranged in what humans had learned meant amusement. The reptilian leader had personally ordered 3 raids this week. Everyone knew it. The evidence sat in David's files marked urgent and ignored by the Council's fact-finding subcommittee. Ambassador Reeves, Kuthen's attention shifted like a spotlight. Does humanity wish to present new evidence for committee review? David stood slowly. His formal diplomatic robes felt heavier than usual. High Arbiter, we've presented evidence 43 times. Documented attacks, survivor testimonies, sensor logs from our defense platforms. The committee has reviewed nothing while 2,300 of my people have died waiting for council action. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Direct confrontation violated about 16 different protocols. Kuthen's translator actually paused, processing the breach of etiquette. The council operates through established channels. Kuthen recovered his composure. Hasty action serves no one. We must consider all perspectives before rendering judgment. Grath's translator broadcast his laughter across the chamber. Perhaps humans should relocate their colonies to less contested regions. The hegemony's ancestral claims to these territories date back millennia. Your people evolved 3 star systems away, Patricia muttered, just loud enough for the recording devices to capture. David's tablet chimed. Urgent message from Earth Command. He glanced down and felt his stomach drop. New Helena. Colony population 15,000. Mostly families of the terraforming engineers who'd spent 20 years making that world habitable. Distress signal cut mid-transmission 40 minutes ago. High Arbiter, David's voice carried across sudden silence. I request emergency vote for immediate military intervention. Hegemony forces have attacked New Helena. Civilian colony, no military installations. We need peacekeeping forces deployed within hours. Kuthen's mandibles clicked in what might have been sympathy or might have been irritation. We must follow proper procedures. I move for formation of emergency investigative committee to determine facts of the situation. Seconded, came voices from 6 different species, all hegemony trade partners. The facts are 15,000 people screaming for help. David heard his voice rise, felt Patricia's hand on his arm, warning or support, he couldn't tell. The facts are 8 months of raids while this council debates semicolons in reports no one reads. The facts are children dying while you form committees. Order, Kuthen demanded. Ambassador Reeves, compose yourself. Emotional outbursts help nothing. David looked at Patricia, saw his own exhaustion reflected in her eyes. She showed him her tablet screen, message from Fleet Admiral Brooks, 3 words that changed everything. Authorization granted, proceed. I call for formal vote. David kept his voice level now, cold. Military intervention in defense of New Helena, yes or no, simple majority. The vote took 6 minutes. David watched the tally climb with grim satisfaction. 89 species voted yes, probably felt guilty. 27 abstained, playing politics. 731 voted no, maintaining the status quo that served them fine. Kuthen adjusted his ceremonial sash. The council has spoken. Humanity's petition for intervention is denied. I propose we form a special investigative committee to study the broader implications of territorial disputes in developing regions. Representatives nodded, murmured approval, already moving on to next agenda item. David gathered his documents with careful precision. Patricia closed her tablet. They stood together while Kuthen droned about committee composition and fact-finding timelines. "High Arbiter," David interrupted. Silence fell again, council meetings. Rarely saw this much excitement. Humanity formally withdraws its petition for council intervention. Kuthen looked relieved. Problem solved. Humans accepted their place. "Very well, the matter is closed. We can now proceed to." "We'll handle this ourselves," David continued, "through other means." Some representatives understood immediately. Ambassador Myra from the Avian Concordat went very still. Her feathers flattened against her neck. Others missed it entirely. Kuthen actually smiled with his eyes, the only human expression his species could manage. David and Patricia walked toward the exit. Their footsteps echoed in the vast chamber. Behind them, Kuthen began organizing his special committee. Voices rose in renewed debate about proper investigative methodology. At the door, Patricia paused, placed a sealed envelope on the podium beside the entrance. The clerk looked confused. "For the High Arbiter," she said quietly, "for when he finishes his committee." They walked to their shuttle in silence. The dock workers loading cargo paid them no attention, just another failed diplomatic mission. David sealed the airlock and finally allowed himself to breathe. "Fleet Admiral Brooks sends her regards," Patricia said, strapping into the co-pilot's seat. "Fifth and Seventh Fleets are already moving, Third Fleet mobilizing from Earth as strategic reserve." David activated the launch sequence. "How long?" 72 hours until Fifth Fleet reaches engagement range. Hegemony won't see them coming until it's too late." The shuttle lifted away from Harmony Ring. Through the viewport, David watched the massive station shrink. Inside those halls, 847 species continued their endless debates, forming committees, following procedures, protecting nothing. Patricia's envelope sat on the podium. The clerk would deliver it eventually. Kuthen would open it, read 3 words written in precise human standard. "You were warned." By then, the galaxy would already be trembling. David set course for Earth. Behind them, Harmony Ring continued spinning. Ahead, somewhere in the dark between stars, human warships moved with terrible purpose. Diplomacy had failed. Now came the lesson about what humanity had been protecting everyone from. Warmaster Grath lifted his ceremonial cup high, while subordinates cheered around him. The fermented drink burned pleasantly down his throat as he celebrated humanity's predictable weakness. They had folded exactly as his analysts predicted, retreated to their little corner of space to lick wounds and accept their place. "Intelligence report," his second officer approached with proper deference. "Human fleet movements detected across multiple sectors." Grath waved dismissively. "Obviously retreating to defend their core worlds. Let them cower behind their defenses while we claim what's rightfully ours." He turned to his tactical staff. "Prepare raids on their mining stations. Hit refuge station first. Strip it clean before they can evacuate." His officers hurried to comply. Grath settled back in his command throne, reviewing the intelligence files the Council had provided about human military capabilities. Small fleet, limited combat experience, outdated weapon systems. The data was 12 years old, but humans had never updated it, probably had nothing new to report. Somewhere far beyond hegemony, Space Fleet Admiral Sarah Brooks studied those same files and smiled without humor. Her bridge crew moved with quiet efficiency aboard UNS Endeavour, preparing for operations they'd rehearsed 100 times. "Status on Fifth Fleet?" Brooks asked. "All 47 ships reporting ready," her operations officer replied. "Seventh Fleet confirms 52 ships in position. Third Fleet departed Earth orbit 2 hours ago." Brooks nodded, pulled up tactical displays showing hegemony force distributions. Her intelligence division had mapped every ship, every station. every communication relay for 8 months. While Grath celebrated and councils debated, humanity watched and prepared. Captain Harris reports Relentless is in position, communications announced. Brooks activated secure channel. Owen, your weapons free, show them what restraint was protecting them from. Light years away, UNS Relentless hung invisible beside Grath's flagship Eternal Dominion. Stealth technology humanity developed during their own bloody wars, refined until even dedicated sensors couldn't find them. Captain Owen Harris checked his crew positions one final time. Tactical confirmed targets, he ordered. Yuki Tanaka worked her console with practiced precision. Command deck marked, weapons arrays identified, engine clusters locked, life support and crew quarters flagged as restricted, were clear on all civilian zones. Grath's ship just launched fighters toward Refuge Station. Intelligence Officer Robert Shaw reported 12 attack craft armed for station assault. Owen felt cold anger settle in his chest. Weapons free, 4-minute window, disable only, we're not murderers. Relentless decloaked directly beside Eternal Dominion, close enough that hegemony sensors screamed collision warnings. Owen watched Grath's bridge erupt in chaos through targeting cameras, saw the War Master's expression shift from confidence to shock in 30 seconds. Rail guns fired, electromagnetic acceleration pushing tungsten rounds to velocities hegemony shields never anticipated. Kinetic energy punched through defensive screens like tissue. Computer-guided rounds struck weapon mounts with surgical precision. Explosions bloomed across Eternal Dominion's hull as guns went silent. Engine targeting, Yuki announced. Fired again, hegemony propulsion systems shattered under sustained barrage. The massive flagship went dark, drifting, helpless but alive. 4 minutes elapsed. Owen checked casualty reports. 14 hegemony crew injured, none fatal. Their damage control teams are responding. Recloak and withdraw, Owen ordered. Relentless vanished again. Grath's sensors never achieved weapons lock, never fired a single shot. Across 17 star systems, similar scenes played simultaneously. Human strike teams appeared from nowhere, eliminated military targets with overwhelming precision, withdrew before effective response. Hegemony forward bases went silent, communication networks jammed. 40% of their military capacity evaporated in 4 minutes. Brooks watched tactical updates flow across her screens, every strike executed perfectly. 0 civilian casualties, minimal hegemony deaths, all from equipment failures, exactly as planned. Hegemony High Command broadcasting distress calls, communications reported. They're demanding council intervention against our unprovoked aggression. Patricia Osman arrived on Endeavor's bridge fresh from council station. Kothen is very displeased, she reported dryly. Multiple species demanding explanations for our capabilities. Seems they never asked for updated assessments, Brooks replied. Their mistake, what's hegemony response? Grath survived. He's calling for total war, mobilizing reserve fleets. Patricia pulled up intercepts. High Command threatening to attack Earth itself. Brooks studied hegemony fleet positions. Predictable, open channel, all hegemony. Military frequencies. Her communications officer worked quickly. Channel open, Admiral. Hegemony forces. Brooks spoke clearly, let her words carry across space. New Helena had 15,000 civilians. Your forces gave them no warning. We're giving you 4 hours. Withdraw all military assets from disputed territories. This is your only warning. She transmitted tactical data showing 5th and 7th fleets positioned around every hegemony core world. Showed 3rd Fleet approaching their capital. Showed stealth ships humanity scattered through their space like invisible knives. On his crippled flagship, Grath received the transmission, saw human fleet positions, realized they could have destroyed Eternal Dominion, killed everyone aboard, instead left them floating, rescued. His tactical officer voice shook. Admiral, they have firing solutions on every major population center. They've been in position for hours. They could have struck first, killed millions. Grath stared at the tactical display, finally understanding the difference between humans who couldn't fight and humans who chose not to. He'd assumed weakness, discovered restraint, provoked the worst possible enemy, one that fought with precision instead of rage. Back on Harmony Ring, Ambassador Myra circulated documents among representatives. 8 months of evidence Council ignored. Every raid, every attack, every human request for help denied. Species who'd voted against intervention now read what they'd dismissed. Perhaps, she addressed the chamber quietly, we should have asked humans why they stopped fighting their own wars instead of assuming they never learned how. Who then called for order, demanded emergency sessions, formed new committees, tried desperately to reassert control while Galaxy watched real-time footage of human military capabilities nobody knew existed. Deep in hegemony space, Admiral Kessa studied battle recordings, calculated probable outcomes, ran scenarios through tactical computers. Every simulation ended the same way. Hegemony defeat, overwhelming, decisive. Humans held every advantage. She accessed secure channels, began quietly moving civilians away from military installations, preparing evacuation protocols. Someone had to survive what was coming. Someone had to rebuild after Grath's pride destroyed them. Brooks checked chronometer, 3 hours 56 minutes remaining. All fleets maintain. Position, weapons cold until time expires. And if they don't withdraw, Patricia asked. Brooks' expression hardened. Then we finish this properly. Across the galaxy, countdown displays marked remaining time. Hegemony mobilized for war. Council scrambled to maintain relevance. Other species watched and reconsidered everything they thought they knew about humanity. 4 hours to decide, 4 hours to learn. The universe held its breath. Supreme Commander Valak slammed both fists on the war table hard enough to crack its surface. Holographic displays flickered from the impact while his generals stood rigid, waiting for the explosion they all knew was coming. Cowards, Valak's voice carried throughout the command chamber. Sneaking attacks, hiding behind technology, this is not honorable warfare. Admiral Kessa kept her expression neutral, her tactical training screaming warnings Valak refused to hear. She'd reviewed the human strikes frame by frame, identified patterns that terrified her, every shot precisely calculated, every target carefully selected. Zero wasted effort. This wasn't luck. This was mastery. Supreme Commander, she tried once more. Their capability exceeds our projections by significant margins. I recommend we consider. Valak turned on her, eyes blazing. You recommend surrender, Admiral. Perhaps you'd prefer to join the humans since you admire them so greatly. Kessa fell silent, watched Valak order total mobilization, 200 warships gathering for counterattack, marching towards slaughter. She couldn't stop it, could only prepare to limit casualties when everything collapsed. 3 hours remained on human ultimatum. At Harmony Ring, David Reeves sat motionless while Council erupted around him. Species shouting accusations, demands for human sanctions, calls for immediate ceasefire. Then attempting to maintain order with increasingly frantic mandible clicking. Ambassador Myra took the floor, her feathers raised in clear agitation. I present documented evidence. She activated displays showing 8 months of hegemony raids, 2,300 human casualties while Council debated proper grammar in reports, 15,000 more at New Helena, yet this Council condemns humanity for defending itself. They exceeded proportional response, a reptilian delegate objected. 40% of hegemony forward forces destroyed. Disabled, Myra corrected. Sharply, human weapons targeted systems, not crews, hegemony casualties number 312. Mostly injuries, humans could have killed tens of thousands. Chose precision instead. David finally spoke. Council spent 6 days arguing about paragraph 17 while my people died. You want to debate proportional response. Where was proportionality when hegemony attacked civilian colonies? Where was Council intervention then? Silence answered him, uncomfortable, guilty, then cleared his throat. We follow established procedures. Your procedures are worthless, David stood. They protect nothing except your comfortable illusions. You want to sanction humanity, go ahead. We're done seeking your approval anyway. He walked out. Myra watched him go, feeling tectonic shifts in galactic order, something fundamental breaking, reshaping. Across the galaxy, observer Captain Jin of the feline Concordat recorded everything from his stealth ship. His government demanded intelligence about human capabilities. What he documented defied conventional understanding. Human vessels maneuvering with impossible precision. Weapons operating beyond known theoretical limits. Defensive systems that made hegemony attacks irrelevant. He transmitted urgent reports. They've been holding back. Significantly, current display likely represents fraction of actual capability. Recommend immediate diplomatic overture before we're on their bad side. Historian Doran published real-time analysis to scholarly networks. Humans stopped their own wars 70 years ago, not from weakness, from understanding. They learned warfare's true cost, developed capabilities to end conflicts decisively, then chose peace instead. We mistook their choice for inability, fatal error. 2 hours remaining. Captain Nina Frost monitored hegemony mobilization from orbit above their capital. Counted 203 warships forming attack formation, moving toward human positions. She transmitted to Admiral Brooks. They're not withdrawing, they're doubling down. Brooks studied tactical displays. Some species learn slowly, maintain position, prepare for engagement. Remember, disable when possible, destroy only when necessary. Valak's fleet accelerated toward confrontation. His commanders confident in numerical superiority. 200 against 99 human ships. Should be easy victory. Admiral Kessa quietly prepared final letters to. Her family said goodbye. Nobody listened. 1 hour remaining. David received messages from 3 minor species ambassadors, offering to mediate, requesting humans reconsider. He responded to each. 8 months ago was time for mediation, now is time for results. Across hegemony, space civilians began evacuating military zones. Admiral Kessa's quiet orders spreading through back channels. Someone understood what was coming. Someone tried to save who they could. 30 minutes remaining. Brooks addressed her fleet. Today we demonstrate difference between warriors and murderers. We fight to stop aggression, not to satisfy anger. Every shot will be measured, every target verified. We are not them. Remember that. Her crew responded with disciplined efficiency, checking weapon systems, confirming targeting protocols, preparing to execute precision warfare at scale. 15 minutes remaining. Valak broadcast to his fleet. Today we show these upstart humans their place, crush their arrogance, claim their territories. Victory will be swift and total. His ships cheered, confident. Unaware, Admiral Kessa said nothing, counted seconds until disaster. 5 minutes remaining. Council attempted emergency ceasefire vote, required unanimous consent. 3 hegemony allies blocked it. Myra walked out in disgust. Galaxy watched real-time feeds, holding collective breath. Time expired. Brooks gave order. All ships engage, show them what they forced us to become. Hegemony fleet entered human weapons range. Confident in their numbers, Valak smiled, ordered attack formation. 200 ships against 99, simple mathematics. Then human fleet opened fire. Rail guns spoke first. Electromagnetically accelerated rounds crossing distance faster than hegemony sensors could track. Designed for armor penetration. Hegemony shields built for energy weapons. Mathematics suddenly favored humans. First salvo disabled 17 hegemony ships. Weapons offline. Engines dead. Life support intact. Crews alive but helpless. Pattern repeated across battle space. Human precision turning superior numbers into floating debris. Valak watched his tactical display dissolve into chaos. Return fire! All weapons! His ships tried. energy weapons splashing harmlessly against human shields nobody knew existed. Missiles intercepted by point defense systems operating at 98% efficiency. Admiral Kessa saw probability curves collapse toward inevitable conclusion. Humans weren't just winning, they were teaching, demonstrating exactly how outmatched hegemony truly was. 20 minutes into engagement, 140 hegemony ships disabled. Human fleet showing minimal damage, casualties asymmetric beyond belief, hegemony hundreds, humanity zero. Brooks transmitted again. Admiral Kessa, we know you're the tactical mind. Take command. Save your people. This war is over. Kessa looked at Valak, saw pride, madness, death made her choice. All hegemony forces, this is Admiral Kessa. I'm assuming command. Stand down immediately. Power down weapons. This ends now. Some ships complied. Others loyal to Valak continued fighting. Human fleet adapted, focused on holdouts, disabled them methodically, mercilessly efficient, perfectly controlled. Valak screamed orders nobody followed, watched his fleet surrender around him, finally understood. Humans had been holding back. Restraint wasn't weakness, was gift, one he'd thrown away. Brooks broadcast final message. Your war is over, accept it. Galaxy watched Empire crumble. 4 hours of warning, 20 minutes of fighting, lesson delivered, universe trembled. Understanding spread. Humanity had tried peace first, remembered that. Silence hung over the battlefield like funeral shroud. 183 hegemony warships drifted powerless among the debris of their own ambitions. Human fleet maintained perfect formation. Weapons cold now, task complete. Admiral Kessa broadcast from her disabled command ship. All hegemony forces stand down. Power weapons to minimum, await further instructions. Her voice carried exhaustion. Relief, shame, they'd survived, barely. Brooks studied casualty reports. Hegemony dead numbered 473, mostly from system failures when human weapons disabled critical infrastructure. Terrible number. Fraction of what conventional warfare would have cost. She felt each death anyway. Medical teams, she ordered. Deploy to hegemony ships, priority to life support failures. Engineering teams assist with stabilization, move. Dr. Ray Foster led the response. Human medical ships approaching former enemies. Hegemony crews watched with confusion, suspicion. Humans just crippled their fleet, now offering aid. The contradiction broke their understanding of warfare. Why, a hegemony medical officer asked when Foster's team arrived. Why help us? Foster checked his patient, hegemony soldier with crush injuries from collapsing bulkhead. Because the fighting's over, you need help. We can provide it. That's enough reason. Across 17 disabled ships, human engineers worked beside hegemony crews, stabilizing reactors, patching hull breaches, restoring life support. Former enemies cooperating because survival mattered more than pride. Observer Captain Jin recorded everything, transmitted to Concordat leadership. Human post-combat behavior unprecedented. They fight to disable, then immediately render aid. Warfare with conscience, never documented before. On Harmony Ring, representatives watched live feeds in stunned silence, then attempting to formulate response. Failing. His procedural frameworks offered nothing for this situation. Humans ignored council completely, resolved conflict themselves, proved council irrelevant in single afternoon. Ambassador Lyra stood, addressed the chamber. I propose immediate review of all military intelligence protocols. Clearly our assessments are dangerously outdated. Seconded, came voices from 40 species. Everyone suddenly interested in knowing what other surprises lurked in members they'd dismissed. David Reeves received permission to address council remotely. His image appeared on central display. You wanted to form committees, investigate, follow procedures. While you debated, we acted. Results speak for themselves. Your actions were unilateral, Kuthen protested weakly. Violated council charter regarding military engagement. Your charter required you to protect member species, David replied coldly. You failed, we didn't, complaint noted, don't care. He disconnected. Myra smiled privately, watching established order crack under weight of its own incompetence. At the battlefield, Admiral Kessa received clearance to meet Brooks face-to-face, her damaged command ship still operational enough for shuttle launch. She approached UNS Endeavour with military escort, wondering if this was capture or conversation. Brooks met her in the hangar bay, no guards, no weapons, just two fleet commanders. Admiral Kessa, welcome aboard. Kessa studied the human, seeing tired eyes, professional bearing, none of the triumphant arrogance Valak would have displayed. You could have destroyed us. Yes, Brooks agreed. Didn't wanted to stop you, difference. Matters. They walked to Brooks' ready room, Kessa noting human crew efficiency, discipline, respect between ranks, everything hegemony military pretended to have, never actually achieved. Your tactical performance was flawless, Kessa admitted. Every strike calculated, every shot precise. You've been planning this for months. 8 months, Brooks confirmed. Since first hegemony raid, we hoped diplomacy would work, prepared for when it didn't. Old human saying, hope for peace, prepare for war. Why show mercy? Kessa asked, the question consuming her. Valak attacked your colonies, killed your civilians, you had justification for total destruction. Instead, you disabled our fleet, saved our crews. Brooks poured 2 drinks, offered one. Because we're not fighting for revenge, fighting to stop aggression. Killing your people wouldn't accomplish that. Teaching you we could kill them but chose not to, that accomplishes everything. Kessa accepted the drink, understanding crystallizing. You wanted us to know we lost before combat started, wanted us to see the gap between our capabilities, wanted survivors to explain to hegemony leadership exactly how outmatched we were. Partially, Brooks admitted. Also wanted to prove humans can fight wars without becoming monsters, easy to kill, harder to win while maintaining principles. We chose harder path. Your weapons technology, Kessa ventured. Far beyond council assessments, you deliberately provided outdated information. Brooks smiled. Council never asked for updates, assumed we'd volunteer everything. We volunteered what we wanted them to know, kept our capabilities private, strategic advantage. How much did you hold back? Kessa asked. What we saw today, full capability. About 40%, Brooks answered honestly. Enough to win decisively, not enough to reveal everything, still have strategic reserve if someone else gets ideas. Kessa absorbed that, felt cold understanding settle. Humans weren't just powerful, they were playing different game entirely, thinking generations ahead. What happens now? You rebuild, Brooks said simply. Your government reorganizes, probably around you since Valak demonstrated catastrophic judgment. We help if you want, stand back if you prefer, your choice. And if we choose revenge, Kessa had to ask, rebuild military, strike back eventually. Brooks met her eyes, then we do this again. Except next time we won't be as gentle. This was warning, demonstration. Next time would be conclusion. Don't recommend testing that theory. Kessa believed her. I'll need to explain to my people why we surrendered. Tell them truth, Brooks suggested. You faced enemy that could have annihilated you, chose mercy instead, fought with precision rather than rage, demonstrated that strength and wisdom aren't mutually exclusive. Your people will understand, probably better than their previous leaders did. Patricia Osman entered, carrying reports. Council demanding human representatives return, immediate emergency session, very insistent. Brooks looked at Kessa. Want to come, see what passes for galactic governance. Kessa considered, yes, I should witness the aftermath personally. They took Brooks' flagship to Harmony Ring, arriving as council session reached peak chaos, then attempting to manage 847 different opinions simultaneously, failing spectacularly. Brooks and Kessa entered together. Chamber fell silent. Human Admiral and Hegemony Admiral side by side, former enemies walking as something new, uncertain, evolving. Admiral Brooks, then began. This council demands explanation for your unilateral military action. Demands denied, Brooks interrupted. We're here as courtesy, not obligation. You had 8 months to act, didn't? We solved the problem ourselves. You're welcome. She transmitted complete tactical reports, every engagement, every casualty, every piece of evidence showing human restraint, precision, care for life even in combat. Historian Doran broadcast his analysis. Humanity just taught us warfare's evolution, from destruction to precision, from revenge to resolution, from killing enemies to teaching lessons. Galaxy should pay attention. Valak transmitted from his cell on Hegemony Capital, demanding Council restore his authority, pleading for sanctions against humanity. Nobody listened. Broken commander, irrelevant now. Brooks addressed Council final time. We tried your way, diplomacy, procedures, committees. Our people died while you debated. Won't make that mistake again. Future conflicts. We handle ourselves. You're welcome to watch, not required to approve. She left, Kessa following. 2 admirals departing while Council scrambled to maintain relevance they'd already lost. Behind them, Galaxy reorganized around new reality. Humans weren't asking permission anymore. Universe had trembled, now learned to adjust. 2 weeks after the 4-hour war, as scholars named it, David Reeves returned to Harmony Ring carrying weight of fundamental change. The station looked same, gleaming structure orbiting neutral space. But everything beneath surface had shifted, transformed, evolved beyond recognition. He entered council chambers. Room fell silent. Representatives who'd ignored him for 8 months now watched with careful attention. Kuden no longer sat at high arbiter position, replaced by Speaker Ton, amphibian species known for valuing results over procedure. First significant change among hundreds coming. David walked to central podium, placed data chip in display port. Hollows activated showing faces, 2,300 faces, every human who died while council debated. 15,000 more from New Helena, names, ages, occupations, families they left behind. You wanted procedures, David spoke quietly, forcing chamber to strain listening. Here's mine, remember them, every single one. They died because this council valued process over protection, comfort over courage, maintaining pleasant fictions over acknowledging hard truths. He let the faces rotate. Silent memorial, damning evidence. Some representatives looked away, couldn't. Guilt demanded witness. Speaker Ton spoke carefully. Ambassador Reeves, Council acknowledges its failures. We've initiated comprehensive reforms, military intelligence protocols updated, dispute resolution timelines mandatory, intervention mechanisms strengthened. About time, David replied. Only took catastrophic failure and public humiliation very efficient. Ambassador Lyra stood. The Concordat formally requests mutual defense treaty with humanity. We recognize the value of allies who fight with wisdom rather than just strength. Seconded, came voices from 88 other species, everyone suddenly interested in human friendship. David noted which species, which stayed silent, who learned, who simply feared. Secretary General Linda Harris transmitted from Earth, her image appearing beside David's. Humanity accepts defensive partnerships with species demonstrating genuine commitment to peace. We're not building empire. We're offering cooperation. Those seeking military contractors should look elsewhere. Across Galaxy, responses varied, 234 species requesting updated. Human military assessments. Everyone wanted to know what else humans hadn't mentioned. Earth Command provided carefully edited information, enough to satisfy curiosity, not enough to reveal everything. Admiral Kessa addressed Hegemony from their capital, new civilian government forming around her leadership. Previous administration made catastrophic errors, attacked peaceful neighbors, ignored military reality, provoked war we couldn't win. I take responsibility for rebuilding, reimagining our purpose. We begin by apologizing. She transmitted formal apology to humanity. Earth, colonies, survivors acknowledged every death, every raid, Every crime committed under Valak's leadership promised restitution, requested guidance toward better future. Brooks responded personally. Apology accepted. Work with us on memorial for all casualties, human and hegemony. Let's remember the cost together. Maybe prevent future repetition. Plans developed rapidly. Joint memorial station at New Helena site. Human and hegemony engineers working together, building something meaningful from ashes of conflict. Former enemies becoming cautious partners. Professor Neil Grant delivered lecture to Galactic Scholarly Network, broadcast to 847 member species. Humanity fought wars for thousands of years, learned every terrible lesson, developed capabilities to end conflicts decisively, then chose peace because we understood true cost. You mistook our choice for inability, assumed peaceful meant harmless, fatal error. He displayed human war history, conflicts spanning millennia, technologies developed, abandoned, restricted. We know how to make weapons that kill billions, chose not to. We know how to fight wars of extermination, chose precision instead. We're good at war because we understand why we don't want to be. Intelligence reports flooded Earth Command. 3 hostile species in unexplored regions watching Council weakness, seeing opportunity. Admiral Brooks deployed 3rd Fleet to outer territories. Message clear, Council might be weak. Humanity wasn't. Ambassador Lyra's reports to Concordat leadership revealed shifting dynamics. Humans becoming de facto galactic peacekeepers, not through conquest, through competence, species requesting their protection, mediation, partnership, new order forming around human principles. Council reforms continued, Speaker Ton eliminating bureaucratic redundancies, implementing accountability measures, creating actual enforcement mechanisms, changes that would have prevented hegemony situation if implemented 8 months earlier. David watched reforms with cautious optimism. Good start, prove it lasts, prove it matters when next crisis comes. Memorial service held at New Helena ruins. 847 species representatives attending. Moment of silence led by Admiral Kessa, representing hegemony remorse. Genuine, painful, necessary. David spoke for humanity. We don't want your guilt. We want your commitment. Commit to protecting civilians. Commit to acting when action is needed. Commit to choosing courage over comfort. Honor these deaths by preventing future ones. Standing ovation, rare in council chambers, representatives understanding finally, truly, what David had been saying for 8 months. Patricia Osman reviewed strategic assessments. 90 species requesting human military observers, 67 want joint training exercises, 43 proposing technology exchanges. We're becoming what we never wanted to be, galactic military power. Galactic protector, Brooks corrected. Different thing, we don't conquer, we prevent conquest, we don't expand, we protect. As long as we remember that distinction, we're fine. Earth established forward diplomatic stations. Human fleet maintaining visible presence in key regions, not occupation, deterrence. Preventing aggression through demonstrated capability, other species learning, adapting, evolving. Captain Frost received requests from 6 species for tactical training. Human doctrine spreading, precision over destruction, wisdom over strength. Some species understanding, many trying to copy without comprehending underlying philosophy. Observer Captain Jin's final report to Concordat. Humans fight differently because they think differently. They don't ask, can we win? They ask, what happens after? They don't celebrate victory. They mourn necessity. They're dangerous because they're wise. Wise because they remember being dangerous. 3 months after the war, hegemony completed first phase of military restructuring based on human doctrine. Admiral Kessa visiting Earth personally, requesting continued guidance. Teach us to fight like you, precisely, carefully, reluctantly. Brooks agreed. We'll teach tactical skills, but remember, technique without philosophy is just efficient killing. Learn why we fight, not just how. David stood on Harmony Ring observation deck, watching human ships patrol nearby space. Ambassador Lyra joined him. Your people changed everything. We tried to change nothing, David corrected. Tried to work within system failed, then we changed what we had to. What happens next? Lyra asked. David considered. We keep trying diplomacy, keep preferring peace, but never forget what peace costs when nobody's willing to defend it. We remember New Helena, remember 2,300 faces, remember that sometimes walking away from diplomacy is only way to preserve what diplomacy should protect. And if others test you again? David looked at human fleet, silent, powerful, restrained. Then we remind them why we preferred diplomacy in the first place, gently if possible, decisively if necessary, but always with wisdom our history taught us. Below them Earth turned slowly, blue marble that learned to make peace after centuries of war, that learned to build instead of destroy, that learned restraint after experiencing its absence. The universe had trembled, learned three truths: humans preferred peace, humans prepared for war, those who ignored the first inevitably discovered the second. David walked back toward council chambers. Work continued, diplomacy resumed, but everyone remembered now, everyone understood. Humanity tried peace first, but only first, not only. The galaxy would remember, for generations, the moment humans walked away from diplomacy. And everything that followed,